It must be. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. I was checking to see if I had my green button on to make sure that you could hear what I was saying and I wasn't just up here moving my lips for nothing. I'll tell you, it is Fantastic Friday, Freaky Friday, Fun Friday. I'm not sure about the Friday, but if you're in Buffalo, it is definitely Snowfall Friday. They are expecting anywhere between 4 and 5 feet of snow today. Now, that's up to here on me, and I'm just thinking that's actually quite deep. That I wouldn't even be able to see my wife if she had been standing out there a long time. She'd just disappear. And no, I don't want my wife to just disappear. So I don't want this to come across wrong. But Blake, that's a lot of snow.
It is a lot of snow. I'm just like trying to picture my 9-year-old daughter. In that.
Oh no.
And you wouldn't see her.
It's crazy. And, and they do have a great infrastructure down there. They do have the equipment down there to handle a lot of that stuff. But I'm telling you, when it gets to be fun, where are you putting it? I mean, when you push it, when you push 1 foot to the next foot, you're at 10 feet, right? So where are you putting? And if you're cleaning off a freeway, where's all this snow going?
Okay, so here's my question: when you're on an overpass, one of those higher ones, and you're trying to push it off, where's it all going?
Oh no, it's got to go across. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a logistical nightmare in and of the snow itself. And
is the football game going to be played there in Buffalo?
No, they've moved it to Detroit. So all the people that have flown into Buffalo to go to the game are trapped because they can't leave, and they can't go see the game that's going to happen in Detroit.
And knowing the NFL, they're not going to refund that money. we are not responsible.
I'll tell you what, it's fun to talk about. What's going on. There's a cold front in the country, and the lake effect knows what's going on right there along between Erie and up through Buffalo. Up there, right off of the lake, they're getting that lake effect snow is what we're seeing. I was watching the wind gusts. I was looking at the wind report, Blake. I don't know if you saw this. The winds aren't going to be extremely bad unless you're out on the water. If you're out on the water, you're looking at 60 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour gusts of water, and that stretches all the way in all the Great Lakes. And I don't care if you're on Michigan, Erie, Superior. I don't care if you're on any of them. The Great Lakes they're still a little warm. So that cold front's coming in and just shooting across like a coin over ice. I mean, it's just going crazy. And then...
Okay, so my question to you is, when it's that cold and you got that kind of weather, why would you be on the water anyway?
Because you got shipping. I mean, it's a shipping lane. I mean, that's how Chicago is Chicago. And that's how they do that. I mean, that's a shipping lane through the Erie Canal.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So that, and I'll tell you that it's crazy. And we got a lot. I mean, it's something to watch what's going on. The rest of the country is going to get a dusting. I saw that. I was looking at the snowfall around the country. It looks like most of the rest of the country is going to get a slight dusting. Hey, there was an interesting article, and we're going to speak to this article a little bit today, and I just wanted to mention it. It had to do with retaining of drivers. I think that's going to have a lot in our discussion panel today, is about commitment. And that's what we're going to talk to a little bit about recruiting. How do we recruit well? And those that once we find the guys that we really want to be here, how do we keep the guys that we really want to be here forever? Right? I mean, that's kind of I know that makes it's kind of hard to explain, but if they wanted to come here and we wanted them here, why wouldn't we just have them until they left? I mean, until they were done with their career.
Right.
And now we're at 100% turnover. So we have a great panel today. We got a lot of people on with job behaviors, with no-sell technology, supply chain fitness. I mean, we got a lot of guys on here today to talk a little bit about a broad range of recruiting and our commitment to those guys that we recruit, and also the mindset of the guys that we recruit in the beginning. And what are we going to do and want them to be here? So there is a lot to be said with what we've got going on. Anything you got lined up for the weekend before we jump over to what do you got lined up?
My daughter's Nutcracker Ballet is tonight and tomorrow.
Wow.
So
my daughter was not in ballet. She was in volleyball. and played varsity ball all through. And we went to volleyball tournaments. We did the ball. What a butt whipping, but I enjoyed every minute of it. You know what I mean? Some days it was just like, are you kidding me? We're going where all day again? But I look back and I had a blast.
My daughter's day started at 6 a.m. this morning.
Uh-huh.
And it's not going to be over till 9-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe even 10.
Yeah, I'd have to have a nap. I mean,
she does have some downtimes.
Does she?
She very well might take one.
I'd be like, I'm out. I eat sandwich.
See, I got to run from work to get ready. And then
head on over there.
Pick up my grandmother and then going up there.
Oh, wow. Good for you. I hope you have a blast. I hope you enjoy it. And love every minute of it. I promise you. You just enjoy it for what it is. No, my daughter's 20. You saw my daughter today, right?
I got to meet your daughter this morning.
Well, we went to lunch today. It was funny. She's 27, and she told me, she said, Dad, I'm going to take you to lunch for your birthday. And she said, however, you're still paying. I said, baby, I will be absolutely happy to have you for lunch. To meet you for lunch. And so she came up to the office today. I hope everybody knows my daughter came into the office today. I paraded her around the office to show everybody, because I think you hear me talk much about her, right?
Yeah.
On the show and about, real life, huh?
Yeah, when I brought my daughter,
oh, yeah.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, bring her around. Yeah, it's like show and tell for daughter. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bounce out. We're going to start the show, the panel interview we've got in just a minute with Mark, Corey, and Dr. Mark. And then when we come right back, we're just going to go into, a little bit about commitment. All right, commitment for a lot of ways and a lot of reasons. All right, we'll come back in just a second. All right, everybody, and hey, there you guys are. Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. And yes, Dr. Mark, I see you're up pacing, I'm jogging. Are you jogging in place? Because you're scaring the rest of us. We're all seated, and you're like up moving around. Aren't the rest of us all like in a chair, like to do the interview? And you're like ready. You're like, all right, I'm ready to get going. I'm ready to have this interview. I'm already tired. Yeah, get your coffee, because I'm already tired.
No, standing while on a show or doing a podcast is a hack. When I sit down, I feel like I'm falling asleep. I feel like I'm blah. And so I stand up, I'm energized, I'm ready to go, and I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, me too. And by the way, I'm already broke a sweat just talking to you about, the everything. All right, guys, here, listen. We got Mark Tenney with Job Behaviors, Corey with No Cell Technology, and Dr. Mark with Supply Chain Fitness. Look, I alluded to it a little bit in the opening story. There was an interesting article about recruiting, and it led immediately into, if you find the guys that you want, and they're there for you, and you want them, why can't we just keep them? And one of the answers in the article was really interesting. It was about, what's your commitment to them? And it says there's no one genuine solution, but really you have to have a commitment to them. And I think that's about safety. That's about health. That's about long-term. And you know what? You got to have you got to know what they're thinking and what you're thinking. And I'll tell you, do you happen to have that deal between carriers and drivers? Do you still have that picture of what I'm talking about from Thursday? Will you look at that? You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, from the women's conference.
No, the one that shows what the carriers want and then what the drivers want. You think you got that? Okay, so I just wanted to show you how the vast differently we view things between the carriers and the drivers, and they're in the same lifeboat together. Does that make sense? I mean, and then their most top priorities are different. All right, so I'm going to start off with recruiting a little bit with you, Mark, with job behaviors. I'm going to start off talking about how to align ourselves with what they are and who we are, and finding the people we want, right? So that's what we're doing, because in a hiring process, we don't just, if you do it right and you have certain requirements and certain guidelines and certain specifications that you want to hire somebody with, right? You want people that want to be here, right? I mean, that's kind of what you, I mean, right? Am I on the right page?
Yeah, and I mean, it really comes down to information. And a lot of folks entering the industry, I'll talk about non-experience real quickly. Most young people don't necessarily have access to actionable information. So the assessments that we provide are laser focused. They're based on a job analysis. The content of the assessment is such that even someone taking the assessment is going to have a really good understanding of what that job entails. It's almost like sitting down with a panel of top drivers and sort of getting an overview. And then beyond that, we're identifying those that are a strong behavioral match. And so, you know, I know that you had taken the assessment, and I appreciate you doing that. And, you know, one of the reasons that you scored as high as you did is because not necessarily because we pinned you down as far as your technical capability, because that's about 20% of the pie. But you are somebody who really is going to act as an effective representative of the employer. You're going to maintain self-control in difficult situations. You're likely to stay patient. You're somebody who's going to maintain focus even in good driving conditions. So these are behaviors that we can identify that an individual is bringing to the table. And that's why we say either hire for behavior, confirm skill, or if you're in a training mode, enroll for behavior and train for skill. And that's really a powerful way to go about it. And it's something that helps match the individual to the job that you're offering. And then, as you're saying, once you've identified those folks, and there's real savings associated with identifying people who are a strong behavioral match for the position, turnover tends to come down. We have clients reporting half the turnover of the industry average. New drivers to the industry that are actually posting driver scorecards that are higher than their legacy drivers. So there is and once you do that, there's real money to be saved, which can then be turned back into either signing bonuses or better pay, even a slight increase in pay to attract people to come check you out. And then you stand back and assess with a very laser focused tool that's predictive and allows you then to pull people in who are worth whatever increase in pay or benefits that you might be offering.
So, and I appreciate that, Mark, and what you're talking about is finding people that link up well, and then you get them in the door. Right? So, and I'm going to tell you, I talked to a lot of people at the women's conference. Corey, I'm going to get to you in a minute, but I'm going to go straight to Dr. Mark. And I'll show you in just a second. You found it. I'll go to it in a minute. But here you get them in the door. They match you. And I'm going to tell you, we do a horrible job of taking care of the people we say we love. Yeah. When it comes to not only the way they think, but also and I'm going to say their health. I mean, we put, and here it is, I'm just going to say it, we put these men and women as carriers, we put these men and women in the most dangerous work environment imaginable. They go to job today, and in their environment, 45,000 people will die this year. Right? How stressful can that possibly be? To know that they're ultimately, with their hands on the wheel, they are the professional out there dealing with that kind of stress. Do we do a really bad job of ensuring that they do the healthiest them? Because I'll tell you, at first I thought, and I'm horrible at it, and I think this is why my mistake is everybody's personally responsible for their health. And herein lies the rub. Have you seen me, Dr. Mark? I suck at that too, right? So I'm just saying that it wouldn't hurt if our commitment to them wasn't just the match, right? But how do we do better at drawing those new people in and ensuring that that's what they want with health?
Yeah, well, and I'll get to the health, in a second here. But I think the first thing that that came to my mind, and I really love the word commitment. And the other word that came to my mind was investing in your people, investing in the person as a human, investing in giving them a career path within your organization where they see themselves in 10 years working their way up at your organization, investing in their safety, investing in their quality of life in and outside of the truck, and also investing in their health, like you just mentioned. I think in general, and it's something that I've heard from a lot of companies, and I think there's just in our culture maybe the mindset of everyone's health is a personal decision. And I think there is some validity to that in the fact of if you want to make a change to your health, you have to personally say, okay, hey, I'm committed to this. I'm going to make some changes day to day. But what I think gets overlooked and often swept under the rug from a carrier's perspective is the fostering of an environment that makes it easier / encourages your drivers and other employees to take that leap and say, yes, I want to make this change. I want to live a healthier life. And, similar to safety culture, I'm seeing my leaders and my other managers at the organization leading by example and doing it in their day-to-day life as well. And so that's kind of where I see from just an overall organization level, where a lot of companies just like, well, hey, it's each driver's personal decision. They can figure it out themselves. And then it kind of goes back to the ROI standpoint of, there's a lot of risk and there's a lot of, hit to your bottom line if you have an unhealthy driver behind the wheel. And so that's kind of my initial thoughts there.
Yeah, I like that. And let me just tell you that if you're going to really get in the game, right, I truly believe if you're really going to get into the game, and as a commitment, it's not a bad idea to incentivize based on, if you're going to really be that leader, if you go to somebody and say, you know what, if you can get a 1-year health card, you've been doing badly, you've been getting a 30-day health card or a 90-day, if you can get healthy enough to get a 1-year health card, I'm going to invest in that and reward you and incentivize you to do that. And I'm going to be an employer that recognizes that's important not only for yourself, but for our safety, our ability to retain, and also, that I'm backing you behind it all the way. And I look, we can get into a million things. I think industry-wide, I think health is without question all our responsibility if we care about our drivers. And that goes from the truck stop that puts the little weenies, the good-looking weenies on the wheel, guys. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That awesome-looking hot dog out there with the Pepsi right next to it. I'm telling you, and it's on sale for $1.50, and then the little fruit or salad over here is $7.50. I'm telling you, it makes it. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're not incentivizing that either, right? They all say, well, we've got a healthy choice, but it's 10 times the amount of the marketing, right? That marketing on that little. I don't know if y'all do that. I've been in a lot of truck stops. I'm a sucker for the weenie. On the little hot, good-looking weenie in the truck stop. Look, I tell you, it gets to me when we're talking about commitment, and we're got to talk about these new people coming in here, targeting them well, finding them right, and then keeping them well. And that also goes to you, Corey, and that means keeping them well behind the wheel in their decision-making process along the way. In safety, what are we getting bombarded by more and more every day? And that's technology. Who embraces technology better than old Drive Safe Dave? Is the next generation. They do it much better than me. They can tweet and do all kinds of cool stuff, even though that's probably, from what I'm reading, that's maybe going away pretty soon. You know what, right, Corey? We've got to embrace technology to help us solve technology solutions.
Yeah, technology got us into this mess, and technology has to get us out of this mess, right? And I don't think there's one driver that wakes up in the morning before they get in their truck and say, hey, I'm going to look at my cell phone today and blow a red light and T-bone somebody or, drift into a lane or something like that. nobody does it on purpose, but the cell phone is so addicting that we have to protect the driver from themselves and their own habits, right? I mean, during COVID, people were looking at their cell phone 96 times an hour. And now it's gone down slightly to 88 times an hour per Stanford University. But I mean, we have to protect the drivers from themselves. And this cell phone thing is so addicting. It is, you hear a buzz, beep, or ding, and all of a sudden it's like Pavlov's dogs, right? You hear it and you got to pick it up and you got to see who liked your post or who's texting you or who's sending you a picture or who's sending you scores or whatever. So I think we have to protect the driver from themselves to keep them safe as a big part of it.
Yeah, I look at that, and I think that has a lot to do with, and what we were talking about is this commitment. We go out there and we find the right guy, right? Mr. Tenney, we find the right guy to fit the right job. And it's the next generation that don't know much about it, right? We're just going out and going off behaviors. But we're finding, and they fit the right job. Don't we have to fit them back? I mean, don't we have to stay along not only in what we promise, but that our values stay good and true, and that our principles mean right, and that we do continue, that they're not just a number? I mean, really, we can pinpoint a driver, but if we don't fit them, they're not going to be here long at all, right?
I always say to all of our clients that we can help you identify the best candidates in the applicant pool, but if you don't treat them right, if you're not honest with them, you may lose a good one faster than a bad one. And unfortunately, that does happen quite often. But again, it starts with identifying those that are behaviorally aligned with those current top drivers that you already have. And by the way, I also say that the biggest beneficiaries of proper screening and identifying good drivers are your other good drivers, because you can often see that when there's issues out there, a good driver may get dumped on, disproportionately, just because the dispatcher's been dealing with knuckleheads, So if you can start to build, and obviously you hire your culture, right? So if you're identifying people that are aligning with your top drivers, pay them a little bit better, be honest with them, it can go a real long way.
Throw that schedule up there that if you can. I don't know if they'll be able to see it. Throw that list up here. This is by the National Institute for Trucking at National Institute. Here it is. It's the 22. It's the top industry issues, and you have your commercial drivers, what they think is most important, and you have your motor carriers, who they work for, what they believe to be the most important. And if you look at them, they don't align very well. In fact, in the top 5. The only one that seems very important to both is fuel prices. And then it goes down from there, and I think there's only 4 that share in the same order of top 10 priority. And the number 1 for drivers is number 10 for motor carriers. Okay, that's good. Throw it back over there. And I tell you, and the reason I show you that list, and the reason it concerns me, is that I don't feel like we're genuinely on the same page. Right, and I think maybe that might have a little to do with the massive amount of turnover, is if we're all worried about the different things. And as we move forward going into the next generation, the new people, what they take as priorities, because they're a little different. And one of the things that, and I laughed earlier about to you, Doctor, is like my daughter. She introduced me to baby kale. Okay, And health is a bigger issue with them. They actually eat, I think they eat better than my generation. They're not interested in, I love McDonald's, right? I mean, I'm ready to go now. I mean, but in all essence, they seem to have a better understanding of the health. Now, but to embrace that, I don't think we do a decent job of embracing that as a commitment of a motor carrier or anywhere else in the industry. I don't care if you're a truck stop, or if you're a motor carrier, or you're a dispatcher, or you're an owner of a company, how important it is that we get behind and maybe incentivize for this health.
Well, and I was going to say, first off, I always say you don't have to hate your life to live a healthy one. So Big Mac every once in a while never killed anyone. So
right.
It's just a Big Mac every single day where, hey, okay, we need
right, I got
changes.
you.
And, I like baby and adult kale, so you can make whatever which one you like. But I think that, I guess I just, speaking the obvious, I am in the same age group as the next generation coming up, the millennials and Gen Z. And I think that from an industry standpoint, talking to a lot of drivers and just talking to a lot of carriers in general, there is a lot of the mentality of pull your bootstraps up or whatever, pull your boots up by the bootstraps and just, suck it up and go for it. And I don't think that's going to work with the next generation.
I agree.
I think, millennials and Gen Z, they want to know that their company cares about them. They want to know that their company is progressing them as humans, as thinking about them outside of work. I think health is a huge, point. I think there's other aspects of just quality of life. I think you're seeing it, and I'm talking to a lot of drivers who are looking at, well, hey, OTR is, really affecting my quality of life. I'm looking for more local, a little bit more work-life balance. And so I think there are some industry-wide problems that are going to need to be adjusted to really get the next generation in.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I as I talk to them, and we do see them, and we do see them coming in, I'm not, fortunately for me, I have a son-in-law who's a Marine, and I get to see just how, the positivity of the next generation in certain ways. I'm okay with them taking it eventually. There is enough of the great next generation to hand the baton off if we look for it. I think it's important. But what I was trying to get to, and I feel like that health of our drivers, the safety of our drivers, and the way they think and believe, as all three of you are a different mode of this panel, if we're going to be successful in this industry, we've got to make genuine changes about how we think about it. I think really what you guys are talking about, each of you, not only let's get the people that may fit before they even get in the door. Let's take care of them when we get here, and when they're out there on the road, let's find a way to keep them safe. And I'll tell you, the pendulum a long time. I can tell you from the truck stops. Oh, I drove 10,000 miles in a day, and we've all heard those stories. I don't care anymore about how far you drive unless it's a safe mile. And I'll tell you, Doctor, if you're healthier, you're going to drive a safer mile. If you want to be there and you're committed to your service, you're going to drive a safer mile. And you're good, you know what I'm saying? If your behavior and your thoughts and your ideas are there, you're going to drive a safer mile. And if you, Corey, and your technology and what we're doing, and we're protecting them while they're out there, they're going to drive a safer mile. And I think what we're all sitting here talking about is changing the industry. Corey, right? I mean, really what we're doing is we're finding ways to change the industry to make them safer.
Right.
I mean, and you're that's what you do every day, right? You bounce in and every day. How rewarding is it when you get onboarded and you finally, the light beam comes on, the bulb hits open, and the guys say, you know what, it really wasn't that big of a commitment, but nobody's being distracted anymore behind the wheel.
I mean, that's the biggest reward we can get, right? Is when we get somebody on board and then they get through that initial first, I'd say 3 weeks or so, and then they say, you know what, it's not, it's not invading my privacy. It's not doing this. All it's doing is making me a more focused driver. So there's no buzzes, beeps, or dings from the phone, right? I'm not thinking about watching Netflix. I'm not thinking about making a TikTok post. It really takes the stress out of the technology that you can control out of the cab, right? I mean, it's, and I think that you were completely correct the way that you're saying we need to change the message, right? We need the drivers to know that these carriers are investing in, their safety. We're investing in technology. It's no cell, it's telematics, it's training, it's getting healthier with Dr. Mark, it's spending money to select the cream of the crop to start with. It's a big giant safety puzzle that we have to put together. It's not just a silver bullet that's going to take care of any driver at all. Got to keep them healthy, like you said, off the road, and you have to keep them safe when they're on the road and get home every single night, or get to that next stop every single night, because all it takes is one glance at a phone, or whatever the distraction is. We can't do anything about cheeseburgers and dogs yet, but we can take care of the phone, and all it takes is one glance at a phone for a tragedy to occur, and all of a sudden we're affecting dozens of people's lives, right? So I think investing in that safety, investing in the health of the driver is going to go a long way, especially with the next generation that if presented correctly, they'll appreciate what you're trying to do for them.
Yeah, and I think any generation would appreciate a commitment to them. I don't care if you're 55 or you're 25. If you get a commitment from your carrier, if you get a commitment that we're picking the right people for you, we're picking the right people to stand beside you and to be in the trenches with you, and that we're going to take care of you while you're here. We're going to find ways to help you better achieve your goals. I'll tell you, I think carriers have always been a little hesitant to commit because of the massive amounts of turnover. And I find it shocking that, and it seems counterintuitive that, well, they may be gone tomorrow, right? Or why would I invest in all of these things if the driver's not going to be around very long? And my answer to that is they're not ever going to be around as long unless you do invest in them and you do commit to them. And I appreciate each of you coming in here. Mark, tell us how to get a hold of Job Behaviors if you want to reach out to you and over there at Job Behaviors. How do we get a hold of you?
Oh, you can just go to our website, which is jobbehaviors.com with one B, or you can call me at 253-857-5687. And by the way, I just want to do a quick shout out. We've been talking a lot about the next generation, and we work closely with the next generation in trucking, which is really dedicated to the future and sharing information and identifying people. I know you mentioned Dave Dime. We've done some work with Dave, and he was able to increase, in this case, young women coming into his driver program from 5% to 20%. And again, that's a lot of that is due to just actionable information. A young person saying, "Hey, I didn't know much about this job. Oh, wow, I'm a good fit," and then carrying on to pursue a career. So we're also working in Wisconsin on a unique program that's using the assessment to screen in refugees, which is sometimes a little bit difficult to screen in those or to train those folks. But we're now identifying those that are a good match and getting them into training programs. In Wisconsin, it's really proving to be quite effective. So anyway, that's just a couple things I wanted to share, just since we have been talking about the next generation coming up.
Appreciate it, Mark. Also, Corey, how do we reach out to get a hold of you at No Cell to get your technology to put in the trucks? How do we do that?
It's simple. It's nocell, NOCELL.com, or you can email me, Corey at nocell.com. And one thing also to mention is not only is BCB the safest station in the nation, but BCB trucking became a lot safer this week as well, as we got you guys on board as well. So I appreciate that you guys putting your money where your mouth is and really following through, not only talking safety, preaching safety, but taking steps to be the safest trucking company in the nation as well. So hats off to you all.
Yeah, appreciate that. And also, Dr. Mark, how do we get a hold of you to eat healthier, be healthier with Supply Chain Fitness? How do we do that?
Yeah, well, we're still working on trying to make this the healthiest station in the nation. So we will get there. We will get there. We're taking
challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. But you got a lot of work to do, huh? You got a lot of work to do.
It's all good. We all have different starting places. Supply Chain Fitness on any social media, supplychainfitness.com, or if you want to email me at mark@supplychainfitness.com. And I also, Mark, I didn't realize that you guys do stuff with the next generation of trucking as well. Huge shout out to Dave and Lindsay. We have part of their curriculum is helping and showing their students how to live a healthier life. So day one in the industry, they can get going on the right path. And so I'm a big fan of what Next Gen's doing, and it's awesome that you guys are a part of it as well.
Yeah, I want to thank each of you, and I'll shout out to Lindsay too. I had her on the show at Next Women in Trucking on Monday. I did an interview out there, pretty fascinating, great stuff. So, shout out to them as well. Hey, listen, guys, I want to thank you. Look, as we go forward, and I know y'all have got a lot to do, and we're going to close, but I really think we have industry problems that's going to take industry solutions, and I think all of us are sitting here today with steps in the right direction, and I think it's going to take all of you. I don't care. Every member of this panel has a step in the right direction to help solve some of the ills that have been plaguing this industry forever. And until we all, and I mean all of us, and I'm talking every single body gets behind these ideas, we're going to continue. It's just insanity if we keep doing the same thing and expect something different, when we've got to figure out better ways to do what we're doing if we're going to make this the best industry in the world, even better than what it is, and the safer one, and the healthier one, right, and the smarter one. So in order to do that, we need everybody's solution. I want to thank you guys for being on the panel today a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll see y'all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all around, okay?
Thank you.
All right, bye, everybody. All right, that is the Smart Panel, and Drive Safe Dave just tags along every time. All right, we'll be right back with a little bit of safety in just a second here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. All right, we're back here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here, along with Double Check Dale. We got Blake manning the boards as always, making it a little wiggle, making it a little wobble. But as long as he keeps the sound in check, we're good. Did you get your sound mic on?
I got my sound mic on. I did.
Are you sure? Is he on?
He's on.
Look at that. I am sure.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the, and by the way, just so you know, again, representative of the construction.
I really am. I'm so happy that you take it, you embrace it, and then you take it a step further by wearing that shirt every day. That kind of embodies what we're talking about this week.
Also, if you wear red on Friday, the last day of work, you know what that represents, right?
No. Actually, it's military.
Support your troops.
Yep.
Support your veterans and troops if you wear red on Friday.
Yep.
I didn't know if anybody knew that or not. I'm just trying to do the things that matter.
Drive Safe Dave, you are an all-around person helping everybody out. We love it, buddy.
I just want to be, or if you wear it on Sunday, you're Tiger Woods.
If you wear
it on the last day of the tournament, you're Tiger Woods. Okay.
Work zone safety.
Work zone safety.
And so today we're just going to wrap it up a little bit and just say, hey, it's so important to be aware of your surroundings. Pay attention to the signage, because the signage is your first opportunity to know that something is going to change. Big thing, slow down. Have you ever heard that from me before? Just slow down a little bit.
Slow down.
In 2020, there were 857 work fatalities. Drivers and passengers composed 680 of those. People on foot or bicyclists were another 170. And then there's a category, others or miscellaneous, which is 7. I'm not real sure what that is. The thing that scared me or I didn't like to see was persons on foot increased by 29 fatalities over 2019. So that tells me we're probably not slowing down. We're probably not paying as much attention through those work zones as we should. 244 commercial motor vehicles were involved in crashes, and there were over 112 work zone crashes in 2020. That's just way too many. We can do better than that.
When you get into these construction zones, we face them every day. All of us face them every day, and I think we forget just how different that environment becomes, because not only are you in a environment which is either restricted, or it is a change of lanes, or it is a road surface change, or it is a directional traffic change, or it is any of these things by themselves makes it difficult.
Yep.
And you have all of these other things going on, and then you have people that aren't paying attention, and you have people that aren't good at change. And the one thing you don't, and here's my analogy, if you were going to disarm a bomb, you wouldn't be necessarily rushing in to cut a bunch of wires. You'd take your time a minute.
Yep.
You might take a moment,
slow it
to make
down,
sure
study the
red
situation.
or green,
Yep.
red, green, or red. Just measure which one you might cut first.
Study the situation and look it over a little bit.
You might want to say, well, that one goes to the timer, and that one goes to the detonation switch.
That one's tagged with "Do not cut." You're right.
I'm just saying, and as we go into it, should be the same ideology that you're going into a very dangerous situation. Yeah. Slow it down a little bit, assess it a little bit more, and understand that you've got to proceed with a little caution in these areas.
Yeah. I mean, even at nighttime when there's no workers present, if they have the barrels, the drums, or other signage out there, how many times have you seen where they've been clipped in the past and they've been kicked over into a driver's lane or something like that? So just slow it down.
Understand just how dangerous these environments are and what you can do to make it better when you're in them. All right, let's show one or two videos before we get out of here.
Oh, just following too close here. That's long and short of it. Speed is way down under the speed limit, which is great.
But you're still too close.
You're still too close.
1,001. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even. The marker on the road, 1,001. Yeah. All right, you're too close. All right, next video. Oh, there's a stop sign. There's a stop sign and a railroad track.
Yep.
And we're just going to continue. We didn't even. That's the most flat line I think I've never. We didn't even.
That's right. Just not
interested in any safety there.
And the sign underneath that actually says no train horns. And so they're telling you we're going across a train track.
Train horns.
No train horns. And so the train, if there's a train, they're not going to blow,
Oh, yeah. We're coming.
That's right. And who wins in a truck crash?
Well, it's train 1, truck 0.
There you go.
All right, next video. All right, here's construction.
Yep.
Got a worker present. Guy slowing down. We're going slow. We hit the brakes. Plenty of time to stop. Safe distance. This guy gets an A.
Yeah, speed and space management. A.
This guy or gal, please don't think I'm not thinking it right. This guy or gal gets an A. Great video.
Yeah. Like to share the good ones too and show what it looks like when it's
I
done
think
right.
You brought good ones.
That's just right. That is just right on a Friday afternoon.
That is right on a Friday, man. I appreciate that. All right, so before we get out of here, understand we've talked about construction zones all week. Can you give me a teaser for next week? Can you give me what we might be talking about next week, or is that super secret?
That's super secret because I don't want you to have the right shirt on Monday.
Darn it!
Yeah, I know where you're going
Darn
with that.
it! I was going to try to have the coinciding shirt.
Yeah, that's good. Like
all
you're
right.
a mind
reader. You know
reader.
what? I've got people that'll call your people, and we'll figure out what we got going on. All right, everybody. Hey, have a great, safe, and a wonderful weekend. We hope whatever it is you do, that you do it safely, and you do it timely, and that you have Godspeed behind you when you do it. Everybody be careful and be safe here on BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.